In this edition of RPP News, we honour a local giant, a call for witnesses, and we celebrate the Belle of the Ball. Hello, I'm Catie Sharp. Welcome to the latest edition of RPP News, bringing you stories from across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula. The RPP family is grieving the passing of the member for Dunkley, Peter Murphy. Peter was a passionate and committed representative of her Frankston constituency. She spent every minute working hard to be a voice for the community, promoting all that is best in Frankston and the Peninsula. Peter was the first woman to represent the federal seat of Dunkley. Before entering Parliament, she worked in the Victorian justice system as a senior public defender at Victoria Legal Aid, as a barrister and a team leader at the Victorian Law Reform Commission. In 2022, Peter was appointed as the Government Parliamentary Advisor to the United Nations General Assembly, bringing our local voice to global discussions on economic growth, social inclusion and environmental protection, and bringing home international approaches to solving local issues such as housing affordability and workforce training. Then earlier this year, she was appointed Chair of the House of Representatives Standing Committee on Social Policy and Legal Affairs. The committee conducted an inquiry into online gambling and its impacts on those experiencing gambling harm, and resulted in the You Win Some, You Lose More reform package. For RPP, Peter was a friend and champion. She appeared regularly on Peninsula Talks, sharing the latest from Canberra, and even promoted the show in Parliament as a vital community connector during lockdown.
We have, though, amazing local media. RPPFM is our community radio station which broadcasts down the Mornington Peninsula and up to Frankston, dedicated to local stories, local people, local news. During COVID, lockdown radio with Brendan and Shivani has been a source of comfort and support and information for people right across my electorate and down into the Mornington Peninsula and the electorate of Flinders.
As busy and unwell as she was, Peter always showed up and never lost her kindness, sense of humour or sense of civic responsibility. Vale to a remarkable representative, community member and friend. Major Collision Investigation Unit detectives are asking for help following a fatal collision in Red Hill this week. On Tuesday at about 5 p.m, police believe two cars were travelling in opposite directions on Arthur Seat Road when a head-on collision occurred. Sadly, the male passenger of the Toyota Yaris involved, believed to be in his early 20s, died at the scene. The 23-year-old male driver of the Yaris was airlifted to hospital in serious condition and is under police guard. The 44-year-old solo occupant of the other car, a Toyota Land Cruiser, was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Detectives are working to determine the circumstances surrounding the collision and are asking anyone who witnessed the incident or who has dashcam footage to contact Crime Stoppers. Officers from Carrum Downs are also appealing for witnesses following a collision in Frankston last month. On November the 27th at around 5 p.m, a red Honda CBR 650 motorcycle was seen travelling from Mornington along the Murdoch Highway, Peninsula Link and Cranbourne Road and reached speeds in excess of 220 kilometres per hour. As the bike travelled along Cranbourne Road, it is alleged the rider narrowly missed a woman who was crossing near Belle Park. The bike continued for a short distance before colliding with a silver Ford station wagon near Wattletree Lane. The rider, a 21-year-old man from Somerville, suffered serious injuries and was taken to hospital. The 51-year-old driver of the Ford also suffered injuries and was taken to hospital for treatment. Investigators are keen to speak to anyone who saw the motorcycle prior to the crash and to speak to the woman who was nearly hit by the bike. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Frankston Rovers Junior Football Club is celebrating the success of alumnus Belle, who is a member of the Brisbane Lions 2023 AFLW Premiership team. Her name will sit alongside several former players who have gone on to play professionally, including AFL champion Dermot Brereton. Belle, who started junior football playing mainly against boys, was the 2019 AFLW first round draft selection. Australian Red Cross Lifeblood is encouraging Australians to give the gift of life this Christmas by rolling up a sleeve and donating blood or plasma. An additional 1,000 donors are needed in Frankston this month to boost supplies. Someone in Australia needs blood products every 18 seconds. To help meet patient demand, Lifeblood Frankston Donor Centre will be open throughout the festive season, including Christmas Day. A&O group donors in particular are encouraged to donate. As an added bonus, people who donate in December will receive a limited edition Christmas-inspired bandage, designed by Melbourne-based artist Madeline Stamer. The Frankston Blood Donor Centre is located at 20 Davey Street. And the Mornington Peninsula Regional Gallery will be bursting with summer colour with 4 extraordinary exhibitions, radiating the work of women artists from across Australia. Know My Name, Australian Women Artists is a National Gallery of Australia touring exhibition, which will make its first stop in Mornington on its 2-year tour. The exhibition features more than 60 works by 56 female artists, including Margaret Preston and Janet Cumbray-Stewart. The exhibition will be at the gallery until the 17th of February and entry is free. And now it's time for the Bendigo Bank Monthly Market Update with David Robertson.
2024 approaches with a welcome pause in RBA rate hikes and clear signs that the economy is slowing, but a challenging period ahead. Our latest thoughts on the cusp of the new year. The December RBA no-change policy decision and associated comments were as expected and maintained the tightening bias, but did add weight to a rates-on-hold scenario, potentially for all of 2024. Another hike to 4.6% can't yet be ruled out and will be dependent on the quarterly CPI data out in late January and then in late April. But equally, rate cuts will need a lot of progress with inflation to materialise. The latest GDP numbers showed the economy is quickly decelerating. Real GDP only rose 0.2% in the third quarter, and GDP per capita fell 0.5%, leaving us in a per capita recession. Household consumption and savings rates continued to slow, and only public demand and capital investment kept the economy growing last quarter. So, with the November rate hike and the likely easing in population growth next year, the risk of a technical recession is still real. Fortunately, the resilience in labour markets continues to insulate households from the slowing in the economy. But next year, the unemployment rate is expected to steadily rise. As the chart shows, unemployment typically rises as job advertisements fall, amid tight labour markets losing their strength. And the latest fall in the ANZ Indeed Jobs Ad series and other employment reports does suggest that this is well underway. The updated RBA forecast is for unemployment to only reach 4.2% next year. But as detailed on our Business Insights website, our forecasts show a sharper rise to above 4.5% by mid-year. Further economic data to be released in the coming months is expected to show a similar theme. Higher interest rates, on top of the cost of living crisis, slowing the economy down, suggesting further RBA hikes may be unnecessary. Meanwhile, a range of other central banks, including the US Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank, may well be cutting their rates by mid-2024. But for the RBA, the key is how quickly inflationary risks subside. Core inflation has peaked and is expected to keep falling. But for the RBA to cut rates, they'll need to be convinced that the target of 2.5% is both achievable and imminent. Goods inflation is likely to be around that target relatively soon, but core services inflation may need all of next year to normalise. That contrast between the likely timing of US rate cuts versus the RBA is flowing through to currency markets, with the Aussie dollar reaching almost 67 cents, in line with US dollar weakness. Elsewhere, equity markets have recovered on the prospect of US rate cuts, and the price of gold has just reached a fresh record high. But market confidence remains fragile. In summary, 2024 is likely to be a year where our economy slows further under the weight of higher interest rates, setting the scene for rate cuts early in 2025, but that timing dependent on CPI continuing to moderate and core inflation falling below 3%. And that's the market update from Bendigo Bank, with best wishes for a safe and peaceful holiday season.
After the break, we have Bianca with the weekly weather update.
Everyone knows Australia has 4 big banks, but the 5th biggest retail bank is snapping at their heels. It's a bank that's been around for over 160 years, can be found in over 500 locations nationwide, looks after over 1.8 million customers, and is regularly voted one of the most trusted brands out of all the thousands of brands in Australia. here's this fantastic number 5. Yep, it's Bendigo Bank. The better big bank.
Established in 1988, Progress Signs has been servicing the local community for 30 years. Located on the Mornington Peninsula, they are the #1 destination for all your signage needs, specialising in a variety of signage from vehicles to shop fronts, occasional and corporate events, short-term, long-term and everything in between. If it's signs you need, be it large or small, Progress Signs is the place to call. Available 24/7 at progress-signs.com.au or call the team on 5975 9188. Thinking signs? Think Progress Signs, a station sponsor.
Battery World now open in Mornington.
We know batteries. We know our 75 D23Ls from our DIN 65LHs. And we know which is best for you. We have the range and a spark no one else can match because we live and breathe batteries. Those beautiful boxes and cylinders that power our lives and our passions. That's why we're the batteryologists. We're Battery World.
Battery World Shop 1, 43 Mornington Tyre Road, Mornington.
And now it's time for Bianca with this week's weather.
Hello, I'm Bianca and welcome to this week's RPP weather update. Well, Australia is going through a massive heat wave with 40+ temperatures in New South Wales and South Australia. But what does this mean for us here in southern Victoria? Let's dive in and find out. Sunday the 10th of December brings us a mostly wet, cloudy day, which will set the trend for the rest of the week. We should see a low of 13 and a high of 21. Monday sees much the same with a low of 15 and a high of 23. Tuesday sees the rain easing to bring us a mostly cloudy day. We can expect a low of 17 and a high of 28. Wednesday should see the rain returning, bringing us a low of 17 and a high of 31. Thursday sees the rain continue, bringing us a low of 16 and a high of 23. Friday sees the rain clearing, bringing us a mostly cloudy day with a low of 13 and a high of 19. And finally, Saturday sees the cloud cover continuing. We can expect a low of 9 and a high of 19. Well, that's all for this week. Take good care, and I will see you again next week with another RPP weather update.
And that's all from our team here at RPP News, serving the community with stories that matter to you. Keep watching and do tell your friends. Bringing you the news from coast to coast across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula, I'm Catie Sharp. See you for the next edition.